Hi there. Howdy, howdy. Scooch this just a bit. There we go. Hello and welcome. Uh, End of a good week. I feel pretty well rested. I just took a little bit of a nap, so I'm a little groggy, but yeah, I'm ready to do more details on this Mortarion model. First, I need to move some stuff around, but actually, let's get these are out because I was just putting a lot of magnets earlier today um, on a lot of models. And the reason I was doing that, actually, you can kind of see behind me, is that I now have a lot of models on trays. And they're on trays with magnets attaching them. I will not dip and move this one quite as much, but things are stuck on with magnets. And these trays go into a carrying case, and I can basically take my models around. The hope is, hopefully tomorrow, I can play my first game. I found a really cool shop that has open tables on Saturdays, pretty much all day long. And the owners is basically there's like 3 or 4 dudes that are there every Saturday at a minimum that are happy to teach. So I'm gonna get on that. I'm hopeful that I can do it tomorrow. There's sort of a lot of family stuff going on right now, so I may need to. Yeah, it is exciting. What's up, Lizard? Um, but if the stars align, at the very least, I put a combat patrol together and play a game under those rules because they're a little bit simpler, um, which would be awesome. And it will be sort of plug me into having a local game store that I basically cased the joint out this week and talked to the owner, and it just sounds like a bunch of really cool people. So I can't remember exactly what it says on my Facebook page. So I'll just check it out real quick. Channel, yeah. Let's see. Warhammer 40,000 painting, playing, and lore. So I've got the lore part started. I've got the painting part started. Hopefully tomorrow get the playing part started. I'm very excited. I've put my printer, my poor printer downstairs. I put to task, printed out all my data sheets, um, printed out the rules. Oh boy, there's not very much lead belcher in here anymore. I hope I have another one. So yeah, I'm excited. It would be really, really awesome to get going. So hopefully tomorrow that happens. I have a scythe that I haven't touched, so I'm going to start with that. There is more stuff to do. Actually, I'll do show progress at the top of this thing. This is the body. It still has a lot of extra things like this chain to add onto it, but those are still on the sprue. So I got to prime those before I get started. Hopefully I'll prime those tomorrow. The wings, I think, at least in my opinion, are looking pretty cool. They got a nice fade to them. They look reasonably sickly. So I like that color scheme. He's still very light, but he's going to stay that way. Those wings are not going to get much darker than that. I may do some detail washing just to get some more of those little dots filled in a little bit better. But it's not going to get a dark wash on it. It's not. I don't think I'm going to like agrax the whole thing or anything like that. As far as the body goes, all the metal will get darkened up. That'll get a black wash on it. Um, I'm gonna add a decent amount. Yeah, no, the wings are looking pretty dope. Um, Last night I did them. My buddy Tim, who I haven't talked to in eons, randomly showed up, which was great. He's a good friend of mine that I've known for I don't know 15 years. I moved a little bit further, not crazy further away. I'm just a bad friend and haven't seen him in person. But he just like surprise dropped in on me and had a lot of words of encouragement uh, while I was working away at the wings. I bought a set of makeup brushes. And I watched a couple makeup tutorials. And while dry brushing is different, in a lot of ways than makeup. It's not that different. And so actually, it was a whole set. It was really cheap too. And they're all different shapes. Like you can see that this one is not round. It's got a flattened sort of pointy end to it. Helped out a lot. I'm not even sure that it was the right one for this, but it worked out really well. So yeah, the wings have come a long, long way. Um, I don't know. I feel like in terms of hours, this model's probably around halfway done now. The sprues still have plenty on them. Still plenty of bits. Lots of chainy bits, lots of metally detail bits to attach. But for the most part, if you didn't know the model entirely, it would look a little bit bare in some spots, but once I glue all these things together, like put them on a base, you throw them on the table and mess things up with them. So, yeah, we are making good progress. I feel very good about the wings. I felt okay about the top part of them. The bottom was a little weird and had this sort of yellow line going. But I basically dry brushed over that whole area and faded it with Nurgling Green. And it looks pretty sickly. So I'm pleased. Took my time with it. Also, last night, I think it was this piece had been missing. So I glued him on. I darkened up the blue a little bit. And then got a lot of metal work done. Not a ton, but a lot. So I'll obviously want to be adding, I totally missed the spot there. I'm going to want to add some sort of glow to the pistol. But we'll start with the scythe. Take it from there. Get my sip of tea. Get enough caffeine in my system so I get the shakes. And then get the shakes out of the system. So most of the metal on the scythe is going to be lead belcher. I tend to do all of these little sensor things, all these round dealies with holes in them in Warplock Bronze, as I tend to do also these arcs with the spikes on them. And then this will get some sort of wood treatment. That'll get Seraphim Sepia. That'll get the same wood treatment. That'll get Warplock. Oof. Yeah, it does feel good to be making some solid progress on this. I think the nice part is I don't have very many questionable things to do. The wings were a big question. But I'm pretty confident that as I fill in the body more, and some of it's going to get some more metallics tonight too, I feel like that's going to start coming together. I don't have a lot of puzzly questions about it. I still have to decide on the wings whether or not I try to add some of that sparkly crap that I used on the Night Tyrant, and I think I'm going to because it's pretty subtle. And so I think I could sort of add it in a few spots and not worry too much. I don't have to like paint it on. I can just dab it in, and I think because the wings, I think the thing is with the gun that the sparkly stuff, bang my camera in my knee, it's conducive to like these straight, you can see the shine off of it right now. These sort of straight but bent areas, it shows off well, but then a lot of little details, it gets a little bit lost. I think on a broad, smooth plane, in some spots, it'll look cool because it won't be carrying as much as I was trying to carry with this. Oh, I love that thing's got magnets. So much easier to show stuff off and then put it back. So yeah, I'm excited. This is potentially a very big growth weekend. Those are all bones. Do I want to do those like bones, even though I already painted over some? Sounds like a lot of detail that I should care about, and I am gonna. In fact, because it's been so soon, let's see if I can squeegee some of this off. And I can't. Good. Didn't recognize that that's actually what they were, but they're all sorts of little ribs on a spine. So I will take the time to just paint between these guys. And I'll hit them with Seraphim Sepia. That should make them stand out pretty nicely. Hopefully, Lizard, your week ended on a positive note. Mine certainly did. Work was really good. Lots of virtual high fives at the end of the week. There we go. Yeah, that's going to look really cool with those done individually. I'm very excited to be finding a nerd home at this local store. And it'll be good for me hobby wise in general and just life in general to like have a place. I mean, the place is only like 20, 25 minutes away, maybe a little bit more with traffic, which is nothing. Um, good, finally have time to paint my Night Lords. Yeah, that's what I like to hear. It was good because I get to paint. That's awesome. Yeah, Night Lords. Man, I don't know a lot about Night Lords, but I'm excited to see what you paint. It'll be a good introduction. I watched a really fun. They do a thing at over at Play on Tabletop called 40K in 40 minutes. The game itself, they edit down to 40 minutes, which is pretty cool. This dude Bricky was on there playing against Nick today, and he was playing. Yeah, 40K reveals are coming up. I am psyched for that too. They're playing Tau versus Sisters of Battle, Adeptus Sororitas, and I was like, man, I kind of want to do a Sisters army. I'm at least going to get a couple models. Yeah, Bricky's hilarious. That dude's awesome. He's also a good ambassador for the game, and it showed. Like watching what he was doing, um, and if you've never gone over to play on, they're all just really awesome nerdy dudes. But the guy Bricky was playing against, this dude Nick, he and Nick have that same sort of vibe of like they're just really hyped to be playing, and so all the oh nice, very nice. So like each one of them is like cheering for the other as they just butcher each other's armies. They're just there to like have a blast, and they're psyched when Deadly Demise goes off and stuff like that. It's just really inspiring to see people that like great sportsmanship, people that would be fun to play against. And I'm totally like prepared. I know I'm gonna, like over the course of my grand career when I'm playing this game into my 90s, I'm gonna bump into people that I play that are like, I'm not sure I like this person, but I do like to celebrate the people that are really dope. Yeah, they really are producing like a very high quality show. Um, I love it. I think I am a YouTube member and a Patreon supporter. And truth be told, when I was getting just starting to get into this, one of the things that made me go, I think I might be able, as much as I'm like a little wary of how rules crazy this game is, uh, I watched their ninth edition How to Play episode, this dude Tycho and this other dude JT, and I was like, you know what? I don't know what's going on, but I'm pretty sure I can grok it. And man, this game does look fun. A lot of things, a lot of videos sort of eventually convinced me, but that one was very important in the process. I got all the metal there. I think I did. I gotta get between these chain doohickeys. I, I love how ridiculous this side is. Like, it's just got this little nubbin of chains on the end of teeth. It's not across the whole blade. No, it's just on the end. It's egregious. No, you wouldn't want the end of this thing to be boring. Better have machinery on it. Alright, I've got all the way around that. I gotta get around it on this side. Yeah, they do a pretty amazing, well produced operation there. And they've started running tournaments, basically like collaborate with some different cons and stuff. So every once in a while they head out and they'll do narrative tournaments, which I think is great. It's not even a tournament. The last one that I saw that they did was absolutely dope. It was like a narrative event. So I don't know how many people were playing. It might have been like a total of like 50 tables or whatever. But they had this narrative thread running through the whole thing while they're officiating it. They had this like down titan that could still fire like across several tables while different battles were happening. It was just like such good stuff. And everyone that was playing, you could tell was just hyped. It was pretty off the chain. Got to see my favorite 40k YouTubers at PAX last week. Which PAX was last week? The community is dope. Was it actually PAX Prime last week? Has my head been under a rock? Ah, duh. You tell I just took a nap. Yeah, PAX Prime. He just flew out for that. No. Yeah, you know what's funny is I'm a little out of the loop on PAX because PAX East is so close to me and I go every year that now I just, for some reason, I just treated it as if Boston is PAX when it's totally not. All right, we're just getting in here. I know I'm gonna find some little spots of white. One thing that's tough is that silver is like lead belcher and whatever. I mean, obviously you can see the sort of reflection with the light in the right angle, but I always go back and then find tons of white spots that I missed when I use a light primer. All right, this I got to be a little wary of. Do this intelligently. But yeah, I love going to PAX. My family's so nerdy that like it's it's a family affair. Good stuff. I saw a lot of old friends this last year at PAX East. And strangely enough, I saw them all out by the food trucks while I was in line. This gal, Meg, great artist that I used to work with, my old studio that I was at. She just happened to like be in line behind me, and then this other dude, Chris, um, that I worked with very closely at the same studio for years. He was out there. His beard was like a foot and a half longer than I remembered it. It was all like people I hadn't seen since I had left that studio during COVID, like right at the beginning of it. So a bunch of people that I used to see 5 days a week that I just kind of never saw again. Um, for a couple years, I was working for a studio. The studio's in Sao Paulo. I was just working remotely. It was great. It was kind of like a reunion, impromptu. All right, so that's wood. That is going to be bronze. That'll be bronze. That'll be bone. Just make sure I'm getting all the way around this guy. Sneak in here and floss him with some paint. All right, so what am I doing for bone? Bone, I am definitely doing Seraphim Sepia. Wood is another story. I think this thing can sit. Probably why that post is there. Yeah, sort of. Can you sit like that? There you go, buddy. Close my lead belcher for now. I need to order more lead belcher. I'm guessing you can put a couple drops of water in one of these pots and sort of get to the thick stuff at the bottom again. Guessing that has to be the way it works. All right, so if I remember correctly, snakebite leather was on the light side, and I didn't like it, but I'm not sure. We're going to test it out. I think this one had a lot of yellow in it, though. Nope, it doesn't. That's pretty woody. All right. It is pretty light, though. I wonder if I should hit it with something thicker first. I'm going to check my other table. My other browns. All right, I got Dryad Bark and Mortfang Brown. We're going to find out really quick if Mortfang Brown is too light. But I'm thinking it is light, but then I will go over it with whatever the thing I was just talking about with snakebite leather. And maybe together that'll look good like wood. And then I can highlight it with a little bit of stuff. It is pretty light though. I'm doing that before the Warplock Bronze, so I can actually just hold this like that. And from the same position, I can just pull out the Seraphim Sepia and hit that too. All right, here we go. Yeah, that's good and woody. Yeah, if I go over this snakebite leather, it'll darken it up nicely, and then after that, I'll probably hit it with Mortarion Grime, of all things, because I have to use it on this model. Otherwise, I'm sort of committing a weird sin. I'm not committing a weird sin. I just want to validate that the colors. Thin that out a little bit, buddy. Ooh. I want to validate that Mortarion Grime is a legit paint choice. I like to use paints named after people in groups. Would you really not use Macragge Blue on your Ultramarines? So this I need to actually look at a little bit. Is that a piece of, is it supposed to be a piece of metal? Well, if it is, it was too obscure for me to care about, so it's not a piece of metal anymore. Sorry, model. I really can't tell. I think it looks better if it's wood anyway. I need to go back. There's so many rules I got to reread, but I think what I want to do is just sort of jump in tomorrow with both feet and just suffer through a quick like 500-point game. If I play it as combat patrol, the rules are a lot simpler. All the detachment stuff simpler. Even the data sheets are simpler. Like Typhus only gets one of his like 2 things listed. He only takes 10 Poxwalkers in. I think I'll just play it simple because I think my first game I really just want to get my head around the different phases and what I mentally want to be ready for and thinking about as the phases go by, and then also just the combat sequences. Get my head around those, go through enough of them. Okay, his hand goes around that thing. Not before I find the angle I never painted. There we go. But who knows? When I get there, I might just be like, you know what? Let's play a 1,000-point game, freestyle it, just sort of plod my way through. That's there. Dab that through. Get all this down here. There we go. Just being super gentle with it. Taking my time. Fingertip on that to spin this guy around. There we go. Nice and slow. His finger, keep in mind, his finger's almost like trigger set on there. A little bit of a weird shape underneath it. I mean, I'll get it, but easy to sort of lose sight of the grip from one side to the other. It's a very gentle grip. Just put it that way. Dab. And his thumb, so I've got to scooch, yeah, right up to there. He's got his little trinket. He's got his little Call of Duty trinket on there. Just thread that. Yeah, good job. Good job, May. Nice and careful. Actually, that's nice and dry now. I can manipulate this a little bit better. There we go. There we go. Almost there. I can set this guy down for a little bit. Let this wood paint definitely going to need a little time to dry. It's pretty thick stuff. I mean, obviously I'm thinning it out, but not a wash by any stretch. Now I've got to actually focus a little bit and really zero in on where this wood is. I realize I'm not even on the shot because I'm leaned over so much. Not that anybody cares about my beautiful face. I'm trying to be as professional as possible when I can. There we go. There's a little bit in there. Dab will do ya. There we go. And I nicked him in the finger a little bit. Don't dip it in the paint, you goose. There we go. Yeah, that'll be fine once I get to the Seraphim Sepia. So, the branch is all done. All done. Yep. Looking good from many angles. The branch is done. The handle, but this little doohickey is not. Some of the little recessed parts I don't need to worry too much about because, as I said earlier, I'm going to hit this with contrast. After this dries, the contrast paint will find every nook and cranny known to man. There you go. That's pretty good. There'll be some light amount of touch up on there, but I can let this guy dry now. So I'll do that. Just set him down, balance that way, full body out, and time to focus on a part that I'm not that excited to do. Hey, what's up, Maury? One One of my suppliers, Maury, claims that there's a mug headed your way. We'll see. This will be the test of the shipping. They can get it to you in Brazil. Shipping wasn't actually bad on it. And of course, I'm only paying cost for the mug. Yeah. I didn't get any sort of tracking slip on it, but I am excited to find out if it's even decent quality and if it shows up in one piece. Because I got a lot of Brazilian people now. I said weeks ago how I was more of a Ukrainian channel than I was an American channel. Now I'm also more of a Brazilian channel than I am an American channel. How cool is that? Oh, heck yeah, you will. You'll absolutely send me photos. Watch this. Get this thing over here, too. Bam, 100%. Yeah, I would. That'd be fantastic. Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. I did come across a website. I don't remember which one it was, but like they were talking about the prices in different countries, and like for some stuff, Australia specifically, like it's kind of a better deal in some spots, worse in others. Um, there's a lot of countries where it's like brutally, brutally price gougy. Brazil is definitely on that list. All right, so this brush is probably too big. Oh, I saw another thing. Oh my God, where was it? I think it was just a Reddit post in the Death Guard, the 40K Death Guard subreddit, and the guy, he wasn't from Brazil. He wasn't from Brazil, but I think he was from like the Philippines, and it was like super expensive there. And he was literally making his Death Guard out of household items. It was like bits of cardboard, random bits of plastic, and like no, they did not look like these kinds of models, but you could absolutely tell which models they were supposed to be, and I just found that to be like absolutely genius. Like, yeah, it's paintin, it's 100%, but this person was just straight up just making them. I think I need to scoop some paint out of this pot the hard way and put it on my wet palette because it is pretty gloppy in there. So I can watch my mic go nuts while I'm. There we go. Get this thing out. Oh yeah, that's getting thick in there. There we go. That's way more paint than I'm ever gonna need for this, but be smart, break that off and throw this piece out. Watch me hit my carpet with it. Got it. All right. So now we're gonna surgically go in. Yeah, it's tough. Like, and I'm all for people like printing them out, and I can understand why like in formalized tournaments in a lot of cases like you've got to have like the legit model and all that stuff. Like it's a business, but um, you want it to expand the business. And I think it was actually the first time I streamed was just like doing the starter box with just household items, and you can, but frankly, I think the set was still $35, which is like a crap ton of money for a lot of people. Like the only reason it's not a lot of money for me is because like I'm old and established. Um, the price barrier was like, I know it's like QQ if you want to do it, but at the same time, it's a big reason why I hadn't done it for so long. Because it's like I had already quit in my youth playing Magic because it was expensive. There's one point where I was just like, yeah, I'm just not going to play anymore because I know if I play at all, I'm just going to spend too much money on cards. But like I can understand the business model and why it's expensive. You know, it's a $3+ billion company with a B. Um, and I don't expect companies to do anything other than try to operate at a profit. It doesn't mean I don't think Games Workshop like cares about its customers, but like that is their job. They have stockholders. Their job is to make money and find ways to make more money. But you know, the market can handle it. It's people play a ton of Warhammer, buy a ton of paints. There is competition, and if you just play, you know, with your local tribe of folks, you can absolutely 3D print stuff. You can totally proxy out the wazoo. You can go on Etsy and find something that sounds sort of like Plague Marines, but they're really disease warriors. Um, and you can have a good time. And they print the rules out. You know, I put the rules out on PDF. I think that's fine. Did I do an even mediocre job painting that? Well, whatever. We got sort of a rib cagey thing going. I got to get over this ridge. There we. Oh man, I don't even think you could have seen that, but that was like that was my master stroke. Yeah, market can handle it, but my wallet can't. I hear you. All right, so sort of getting this rib cagey stuff in here. I got my super tiny brush just because it's a little hard to get in there, and I'm trying to minimize how much I accidentally bump into other stuff because I am going to bump into other stuff. So the tinier the brush head, the less damage I can do. Protecting myself from myself. But yeah, this guy's coming along. He is rolling. Yeah, there's no way for them not to look greedy, and frankly, like I'm not saying that they've made all the right decisions, but like in protecting, they got to protect their IP. Like that, they've seen too many things around them sort of flop on that. But um, and more, you and I have chatted about this. Like, there's good takes on it and bad takes on it, and I think you know it's an old company. Like if you think about a 40-year-old company, like it is older than a lot of companies we're very used to. I mean, it's older than Google. Like, oh, um, and it's a manufacturing company. And as far as like getting with the times, like it's part of the reason that like Warhammer Plus, their like online offering, feels a little weird in some spots, and it's gotten a lot better. But it's like the UX of how interacting with their videos and stuff, they're like you know in-house made content, like all that feels a little bit weird. It just feels like in the internet age when someone can spend an amazing amount of their own time making a video off your IP, you'd want to be more out in front about reaching out to them and like offering them a cool deal rather than going into full cease and desist mode first. But, you know, what do I know? I know a lot actually. Ha ha. Not smart. Not really. There we go. Yeah, they did. They did. But the thing is that the problem, it really is a problem, is that like I can't just make Mickey Mouse movies. Like, and I know Disney's coming for me. Um, and I think part of the issue that complicates it is that you can make money on YouTube. Like, it's not just for funsies. Um, and it is a distribution channel, and the issue is that you can sue YouTube. So now YouTube's got to like watch its butt. Um, so I'm not saying that anybody's in the right. I think Games Workshop has handled plenty of things wrongly, but I just mean that it's like it's not simple, and if you're not very savvy about it and not with the times, and I don't think in a lot of ways Games Workshop is because they're so old, they're catching up. But like if you're not out in front of it, someone is literally going to put out like a 2 hour video in your IP, and you're going to be caught flat-footed. And the only fast response you can do is really a cease and desist. Um, so I think they're learning a lesson. Um, but like they're in a weird spot because they've always been this somewhat niche, obscure thing, and now this is also the time where they're coming into prominence. Um, and it's not just because I showed up. Um, but they've always been a little bit niche. War gamers were always considered a little bit weird, and then now it's like Henry Cavill's like, I'm signing up. Yeah, the Cavill effect. Um, and so I think a lot more of this was sort of passable. Like you never really, no one could make a feature length like Hobbit film and easily get away with it before. And I've actually worked with the people that own that IP, not the people that own it, but the people that manage it. And it's like they're pretty strict with their IP, but it's this big known thing. Whereas Warhammer as an IP like was kind of relegated to memes. It was kind of obscure for a while, and then like in the basically like, over COVID, it just exploded. As did the amount of free time very creative people had, and Warhammer itself exploded during COVID as people were like picking up the new hobby and painting in their, sitting in their living room because they got nothing to do. And man, like I can order this model and get this amazing amount of joy out of it. And I think Games Workshop just got caught not with their pants down, but just like behind the times in how to deal with that shit. Pardon my French. I don't normally swear on this stream, but I know you guys can handle it. Like they just seemed painfully unready for the YouTube creator era. And I do think that they have a responsibility. I don't think that they should just let anyone make stuff out of their IP. I don't. Like, I believe in IP law, but you have to sort of be above board enough to realize that a lot of reason people are into Warhammer today and over the last few years is because of all of those creators who promoted the daylights out of your stuff. Like 5 years ago, if someone was going to be like, I'm going to make a successful business out of a Warhammer appreciation YouTube channel, be like, nope, you're not. You're not going to be successful. Like, you're not going to make a business out of it. You might at most be some old dude who paints models, sometimes tries to sell you a mug, and it's a hobby. And, like, that's fair. As far as whether or not you could be like play on, they're trying to get that rolling as a legit business full-time job. I hope they're doing well, and they probably are doing well. That's because the era of Warhammer and its internetness is coming of age. And it's got weird and all IP crazy, but I love it. I mean, it's part of the reason I'm into it, is that in the privacy of my own home, that late night YouTube stuff, it gets you. Next thing you know, going on Amazon, ordering crochet supplies, like picking up new hobbies is dope. So, I don't know. I hope in the future that they're a little bit more forward thinking and less reactionary. But whatever, I'm still going to spend $100 on their silly wargaming toys. And we paint them when we like them. That's that. And rant. All right, so you can see here that like now his body is definitely filled in with a decent amount of more dark areas, which is good. It's very helpful. It like breaks everything up. A little spot in here. I gotta bloop. Doesn't look bad. I got a little charm over here I can hit. Yeah, you bronze. Doesn't look bad, but doesn't quite look done yet. Some stuff in here that needs to happen. I can hit. Yeah, there's some edges I didn't do. Now I'm starting to find the stuff. I gotta hold this guy gently so that I don't make a complete mess of what I'm doing. Found some more borders, more edges. There we go. Just getting some darkness in there to really break up all that light coloring as I go. Yep. That was not my finest work right there. I could give this guy a wipe. There's a weird chromatic aberration when I work fast. On this camera? Oh, you're right, there is. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is at all. It's got to be a camera. Connection. I did change a lot of. That's wild. Boy, the warp's coming for us. I did mess with my gear a lot in the last 48 hours. I tried to put new RAM in my machine. That was an absolute fail. I thought I broke my machine. I didn't, but I thought I did. And I'm going through a massive USB 3 splitter thing now. My signals might be a little squirrely, but that's got to be the camera. It's got to be. Maybe the thing's just been on too long. I'm not going to shut it off in the middle of the stream. I almost did. It's funny, as much as y'all are sitting here, like in my head, I'm really just talking to myself in this room. I love you dearly, but like I am so informal that I almost just the stream would have kept going because that would have kept going. But think about how bad an idea it is. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not very stream conscious while I'm doing this. I feel like I'm just hanging with a couple buddies on Discord while I do something. But yeah, the warp has affected my stream. I should probably turn that camera off every once in a while. There we go. That's right. It'll slow me down. It'll bring me back to a good, reasonable pace. Excellent reminder. I am in no way, shape, or form complaining, but with my sort of, especially at the end of the day, how simple-minded I am, I've got monitor underneath where this camera is. Shows when I'm sending out. It's running OBS or whatever. It's got me in the corner so I can keep an eye there, but like it color-wise, it doesn't ever look correct on the way out the door. And I got a screen over there that is where I can see the chat and any sort of stats that are going on. It's a lot to pay attention to. I have my other computer screen over there, which occasionally I'm like dipping over to Discord to see stuff that you guys post. And I'm just sort of one dude, I don't know, trying to concentrate on this stupid Mortarion guy. He's not stupid. He's weird. He's not stupid. Not complaining, but it's a lot at the end of a long day, at the end of a long week. And I never thought I was going to be in front of a camera, so Not really the type of person for it. I thought about buying another monitor. I'm like, dude, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. You're turning into like an AV studio in this little corner of your desk. Of course, I'm not mature enough to manage my cables in any way, shape, or form. Gen Z can handle 4 screens easily. Well, so right now I'm handling 2 screens, but this one is picture in picture. 3, I don't have my laptop up. If it was all right in front of me, that'd be one thing, but it's got to be like spread out. Boo hoo, boo hoo. But yeah, Gen X caps out at about 2 screens. There we go. So just getting that detail in there. And I'm going to step back and take a look at this guy and focus on what's next. But he's coming along. This back piece is a big deal. Pretty much the majority of the model that I haven't touched yet is all just back here. And I still got to, I'm sort of delayed. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that gas. I'm stalling a little bit as I think about it. Ooh, I gotta floss this. Oop, get the hole inside there. And this is a little piece of motif, this sort of arched thing with the spikes on it. That's straight out of the Plague Burst Crawler. I love seeing stuff like this, like these little pipe things. Those are absolutely on the Myphitic Blight Hauler and on Typhus. They're a little different on Typhus because it's like the special Destroyer Plague thing sticking out of his back. But all those little like elements that they share, so cool. So cool. All right, so I think the majority of this is going to be done. The armorish parts, man, I really can't tell what stuff is. I'm guessing inside that is supposed to be fleshy, and outside that is armor. So then, that's going to be. Sit on your face for a second, buddy. Boop, sit down. Donk. Face plant. That's going to be some Seraphim Sepia. And it's going to be some Guilliman flesh. Guilliman flesh is my new exposed guts. Got magnets. My new exposed guts paint of choice. Also like the fact that it's Guilliman. Mortarion and Guilliman, such good buddies. So I keep Mortarion in check. Paint him with Guilliman. Take a quick break for a sip of tea. You know what the smart money is on setting this guy's side and going back to this side. Now, if this stuff is dry, and I'll hit that wood with contrast. Then I'll go back to Mortarion body. Just give him a little time to breathe. So the Plague Wars arc of books, which I think is 3 books. I blitzed through those. It is all from like Guilliman's perspective, most like Ultramarines, but very Guilliman's perspective. But it does jump back and forth, and Mortarion's in it. He's important, but you get to spend a whole bunch of time with a whole bunch of Nerdle folks, and it's pretty sweet. And like Typhus is in there, and he bickers with Typhus over the Chaos phone. This is fungal stuff. It's really weird. They can all talk to each other by like use of this weird fungus that like covers. You get covered in all this weird veiny myconid stuff, and then they can speak across the galaxy. All the bad guys. Mushroom cell phone. But you get like it's like Klugath. There's like a major demon. Rotigus is in it. They all have this weird mission of they're trying to make this plague stuff, and it's really quite delightful watching how there's a lot of very awesome scenes of the Nurgle demon contingent is doing its job, showing up on a planet, come through some big portal. When they arrive, it's absolutely gross. It's like all these ships coming out of the warp at like ground level, and so they just kind of come off and like huge rotted pieces fall off because now there's gravity, and like whole piles of dudes are just like pouring out onto the landscape. Good books. If you like Nerdle, they're good. You just have to accept the fact that your guys are the bad guys in the book. All right, so I will quickly handle the wood on this, and then I'll get between all these rib things on here. They'll all get Seraphim Sepia, as will his hand. That's in good shape. Use my bigger brush. Dab. Make sure it's decently clean. Yeah, now we're talking. That contrast is going to darken that up nicely. That'll look really rich. And I'm going to lay it on super heavy because the wood has a really nice texture to it. Everything will still pop on it. That's one of the few contrast paints that in the very first moments I put it down, I'm like, yep, that's exactly what I want. I need to use more contrast paints because I am pretty woefully inexperienced with them. I've used almost all the ones that I have wrongly. I don't know how I missed the boat on it. I do know, but like I just bought paint that looked like it was cool colors, and for whatever reason, never really put two and two together that they were functionally different. So I just painted with them. And in a lot of cases, it was like, ooh, that's a weird first layer. Like early on, figuring out my Death Guard sort of green look. I had one guy who just looked like bright yellow, and it's because I did a greenish contrast over white, and that's what you get, and it's fine. That's what you're supposed to get, but it didn't make any sense to me. So only in the last couple of weeks have I gotten my head around contrast paint at all. And if you know how to wield it, it's dope. It makes a heck of a lot more sense than just treating it like a base coat. I don't know why. I think it's because there's so much connotation specifically with contrast. Like I figured out very quickly that technical paint is just weird. Like it does something other. It's like chill out, look me up, then use me. That's fine. That I picked up on. But I think the word contrast is so ubiquitously used in painting in general, and I was not around when it was like, oh, we have this new thing. It's called contrast paint. Like it's our war against gray models. Like that whole marketing campaign, I wasn't around for it. Never heard of it. So I was just like, oh, these are big bottles of thin paint, and they're just not that. They're not that at all. Anyway, that wood's looking good. Spin it around a couple times, make sure I'm getting in there, and these little spots, dab it. And now we will move on to some Seraphim Sepia. Keep this guy. Let's flip him over just so we can smile in the shot. I might be able to. Maybe I'll wait. I was gonna say maybe I'll glue those wings on tonight, but there's enough. Oh yeah, this is totally psychedelic. My camera's hurting. I think there are a few more pieces I really should put on here before I do anything crazy. Glue stuff together. All right, I'm gonna be risky. I'm gonna shut my camera off and then back on midstream. Look at this pro move. It's back online. Oh yeah, I have no idea what's up with it. All right, so be it. We'll just keep on trucking. I will find out what's wrong with it at some point. But if I had to guess, It's a combination of a few things. Psychedelic stream tonight. Oh, better than stabbing yourself with the sharp bits. Yeah, I'm not too worried. I'm just curious, morbidly curious. Geller Field failure. That's right. My time has come. Unlike Mortarion, I won't sit there and be weird and negotiate about it. I'll be like, yo, Nurgle, you out there? Let's do this. Get my superpowers. There we go. So that pretty nicely matches the rest of the armor, so we're safe there. I'm just going to get that little notch a little bit. And then, this is where it gets a little dicey. Get each one of these bones, and I don't really want to get on top of that metal. Blessings are gifts. Yeah, they're risky. But not like it is what it is. You got to respect the fact that if like Nurgle comes knocking, you don't have a lot of choice in the matter. The illusion of choice. I mean, yeah, you can resist, but like I don't know. The whole planet's gonna get turned. Might as well get on board. Get a seat at the table rather than just be an onlooker. Just with these little guys, I'm just dabbing a little bit on top, and then I'll just pull it down. I mean, that's kind of an honor to be like right out in front. That's going to look really good because, man, I'm almost certainly going to rust up the daylights out of this size. To have these bones sort of stick out a little bit, sepia yellow color. I'm just going to get in there and then I'll wipe up a little after. That'll look nice. Don't know how I'm going to rust in between those. Maybe I just won't. Actually, probably better if I don't, so you get a little bit of shine between them. He flosses his bone teeth. He flosses. Dab here. These might need 2 coats. It's like super tiny in here. To get every last little bit of it is not exactly simple. Not exactly. Oh yeah, but that's like just a nice off-white color there. All right, I'll set this guy back down. Now I'll hit these bone things. No, these are going to have to be a little bit darker. I'll hit the armor over here, all this around here, and there's some metal around this. So I will have to get the lead belcher back out. All this will get Seraphim Sepia like the armor did. We are swiftly approaching that point in the game show where now you just find little bits that you hadn't gotten before. Just figuring out the model itself. And it's absolutely fine if I get some of this on these little bone things that stick out because the bottoms of them are going to get darkened anyway. And they'll eventually get a little bit of Seraphim Sepia, but I don't want them to look as flat as the armor does. I want them to be darker at the bottom and get lighter at the end. Like I've already hit those 2 bone things. You can see that. It's going to be something like that, but a little bit more pronounced. Still haven't hit that bone spike with everything it's getting. If I touch the metal, no big deal, because man, lead belcher are going to cover that right up. Yep, and I'm once again finding plenty of spots that I have not hit with enough stuff. Plenty metallics. All right, so there's that. That's really a pool inside there. That's fine though. I'll just magic Q-tip. All right, so that is taken care of. I can probably consider what I'm going to do. There's a lot of this gaseous stuff coming out of him. I got to figure out what I want to do with that. You're gonna sit fine like that? Yeah, you'll sit all right. I sort of feel like there's enough color, even though some of it needs to be darker. His cloak is nice and it's light but colorful relative to the rest of this absolute drab tone stuff. I am thinking that I want to go somewhere in the yellow-green territory for all of the wisps of gas that are coming out. So it turns into like, the cloak literally turns into like warp at the bottom. And I think that that's fine, but I don't want a bunch of like, I don't want to like repeat purple on top. And I don't think I want anything super shiny. Like I don't want to pull that kind of routine. I think what I want is something a little closer to that edge, where it just looks like murky chlorine gas. In fact, if I can remember who the culprit was, that reminds me I should get Gilliman Flesh out. Who the culprit was that I didn't like. Skeleton Horde? I don't think I'm washing everything later. I have a sinking feeling that this lighter stuff is going to need something like Mortarion Grime, but I'm going to try that on something very basic, like maybe the chest piece first to see how that looks, because it's too light right now. A quick color test here to see if I'm remembering this paint the right way. Maybe that wasn't it. A lot of this has gotten a light wash, but all the shiny metal, in fact, I could just jump onto that. I think I will jump onto that. The shiny metal is going to get darkened down. This tan stuff here has gotten a wash, but it's pretty light wash. I don't know. To tell you the truth, the cloth I don't think desperately needs one, but it needs something. I mean, right now it looks like old frayed ghost stuff. I shouldn't say that I haven't used any washes. All of these veins, those are all done with a wash. All the red that's like around those holes, all done with a wash. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just flowing at this point. I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. I have used some to answer your question. I don't think I'm done with them. It is an important thing for me to answer. Maybe tonight I'll get an answer on that. There we go. Yeah, Gilliman Flesh. The chosen one. So I got to edge that thing eventually, but it'll be good to put this guy back down and give him a chance to dry. It's good that I got that in there first. Face down. I need to find my black wash, because I'm definitely doing that next. And I still have plenty of Warp Lock bronze up here, so as that wash is drying, if I need to pick up little bits here and there, I can. Yubby. Alrighty. So then, we have a lot of lead belcher, and it is way too shiny. That's how it always is when you get started. We're going to make it look like it's all grimed up. A lot of chain there that just needs darkening, desperately begging for it. It's a base brush. This guy healthy. Somewhat healthy. You're okay, brush. Alrighty. Do need to be somewhat careful that I'm not getting this all over the cloak. Last words. This will give it a very oily, grimy sort of look to it. And I think I will eventually hit this chain with a light amount of rust. So I do need to sort of keep that in mind. That rust will naturally add a decent amount, not a crazy amount, but a decent amount of color to this. And that most of your rust colors are pretty strong. You're just using them very lightly. But like Rise of Rust is like screaming like brighter than traffic cone orange. A little bit of that goes a long, long way. Even if it's just on the very edges of these ring maily bits, it does add up. I need to be a little less cautious with these guys. Well, not less cautious, a little bit more liberal with the wash. Being a little cowardly right now. You need enough of it on the brush for it to get into those rings. If I just take my time, it'll be fine. But yeah, I may have to do something drastic with the cloak because I know I need to take the color, not the color itself, but the lightness of it down a scooch. So something drastic might happen there, but I'm scared. That part I'm scared of because I do like how faded and drab it looks. It is lacking in good solid contrast. Yeah, this stuff is just making that metal chill out a little bit. Not so shiny now, are you? Just run some all the way down. Yep, I hit him. Scooch, scooch. You know, sometimes accidentally getting a little wash on something you're overprotective of is a good thing because you see just how not big a deal it is. I could hit this whole thing in a black wash and it would not be terrible because I just did. Not the whole thing, but just a little bit of it. It's like, eh. Like I could do this. That's not terrible. That's not terrible at all. I am going to scooch it off here right now. Because an accidental coat of the stuff is not good, but perhaps Mortarion Grimes, perhaps black. I think I'm going to wash the cloak. Forced the issue with my shaky hands, and everything turned out fine. Normally I wouldn't put black wash on this bronze, but I'm mainly doing it and scooching it a lot because the whole front of this gun is this like vented heat sink kind of thing. And I primed this thing in white, so I need to get some black wash in there just so that it's not screaming white coming through it. Just push some in there. Jam some in the barrel of the gun. Yeah, we good. All underneath there. Careful you don't accidentally dip your brush in Warblock Bronze, which I almost just did because it's also dark. That would have been funny. Like, whoops. One of the darkest metallics you got. Accidentally just smushed it all over my Mortarion model. Thank God that didn't happen. Bob Ross all the way. Yeah. I mean, the guy's very inspirational. I used to watch that dude all the time growing up. Bob Ross all the way. I am honored to be even spoken of in the same context. Dude's a legend. Absolute legend. All right, so obviously this is the point in time you start finding a bunch of stuff like those tubes that you didn't hit the first time, but I'll get those in the victory lap near the end. Don't want to. I still have things that need like a full pass, like all this chain stuff minus the 20% that I don't see while I'm doing it. Trying to keep some momentum here. And it's not just because I feel like finishing the model. I don't actually. It's that a lot of times I figure out what color I want to do next after a whole step has gone by. Like the shoulder pads got an addition. They got a wash. After they got this metallic part done, they got a Seraphim Sepia wash, which darkened them up and gave them some contrast. And from doing that, now seeing this next to it is too light for me, it sort of tells me where I want to go next. And I feel like getting some dark contrast in with this chainmail, and once I see it, I'm like taking an unknown thing off of the list of variables. Set you down for a second there, buddy. Just chill. And it sort of teaches me what next step I want to do. I have much more of a cohesive plan when I do like something like Plague Marines, because I've done so many of them. If I was doing Poxwalkers right now, like I'd know exactly what I wanted to do and exactly the order I'd probably do it. And then I'd deviate from that, but it'd be deviating off of like a legit plan. There's a lot of stuff with this model that has been like, do something in a very tiny space, make your peace with it, do it in a much larger space to tell you what it needs next. Like this blue and purple thing was all that. It's like, okay, comfortable covering a lot of my model in this. Do that now. Show me what works next. Don't have a lot of skill, but I have a deep amount of comfort in hopefully not blind iteration, but just like I don't know. Kind of like what rock climbers describes. I think rock climbing is the most terrifying thing ever. Of like, you do have to have a path all the way up the mountain, but you've also got to look like, yeah, figure out 20 feet up because you can't go 40 feet up until you've got that 20 feet past you. There you go. That's good and ruddy. Here, oh yeah, these all of these like ribbed pipes just love black wash. Just gets right in there. Makes them look awesome. A lot of these models have sections where the tube is sort of pulled back. I don't know if you can see that in there, but like it's pulled back and there's like ribbing inside. Just like stuff loves wash. Loves it. Yeah, wisdom. Wasn't born with an amazing amount of intelligence, but I soak up wisdom a lot. I got some fixing to do on this gas mask. That'll be another night. It is very helpful actually to talk out loud while you're doing this stuff. Keep good notes that way mentally. Like I find it is way better for me to stream just because I'm like blah 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 blah. The next time I sit down, I've already got an idea in mind because I talked through so many things that I'm like more present and ready to go when I get started, less lost. Which is why the first session of a model is pretty tough because I'm talking my way through absolute garbage and have no hypothesis. It's okay. Oh, look at those chains under there. I found you. Can't hide from me. Even though I barely painted that cloak. That'll get some blue later. All the hidey spots. This whole bit up here. think after this one piece, I'm going to take a brief 5-minute sojourn because I now have enough of this model that is wet that I can't grab any other piece and keep spinning this thing around, and I don't want to put fingerprints on it just because I feel like I've got momentum. Because I'm good like that. I'm going to put up my magic be back in 5 sign. Step away. Sit. I'll be back in a minute. Grab some tea on the way out. Good Lord, that's hot. Be right back. Still gonna let this dry for a second, but Maury, you weren't here at the top, but I do have something to show you. Oh, they're attached with magnets. They go in a case. If time permits tomorrow, I'll play my first game. That thing you've been waiting for, Maury. I can finally start sounding like a game designer analyst nerd. Found my local shop. Yoink. Okay. What did I say? Yeah, magnets. Spent a lot of time with Magnets the Red today. Alright, this is a little risky. I'm not going to do it as much, but like, even my big boys are on magnets. And all my little fiddly bits, basically glued a magnet inside this bag so all my little ornaments aren't hanging on the tree when I send the thing out. Yeah, we're doing it, Maury. The game designer finally plays the game. No. No, I'm not finishing Mortarion right now. The game that I play tomorrow will probably be a 500-point game. So that'll actually be less than what's on this tray. In theory. Yeah, this has more on it than it needs. That is 7 Plague Marines, 1 Typhus, 1 Adorable Biologist Putrefier, 30 Poxwalkers, I think is the in total there. How those guys fit in a case? I'll be right back. And I'll test the bounds of what I can possibly show with this camera setup this way. Now I gotta be careful. Because it's really easy to forget all the stuff that's around. But I got this case. And the trays fit in it at whatever heights you need. And with the things magnetized down, yeah, it's overkill. But I kind of do things in. I know, don't smash Mortarion, exactly. Gotta be super careful. But anyway, those trays fit in at whatever height. So I'll put my big guys down low. And then these guys only take up about 2 or 3 inches. Typhus will end up on a different tray, probably with stuff about that size. Oh, cute guy. And then my big stuff will end up on a tray, like at the bottom, and the trays fit in really nice. You can't swing the thing around your head, but it's pretty good. And I figure, I know I'm not, at the very least, I'm not going to stop painting anytime soon. And at some point, they're going to need to travel. It's a bit fancy. It's not the most expensive thing out there. You wouldn't want to take that thing on a plane. God forbid I ever go like, oh, I'm going to go to the Las Vegas Open. I don't know. Maybe next year. We'll see. That's a stretch goal. Playing a big tournament. But yeah, I got a case. The other thing is with the cat, you know, I can put everything in my case now and the cat can't get to it. So like if I want to leave the door open, if I'm working someday but my wife needs to be gone and I gotta like keep an ear out because like one of my kids is watching my other kids, I could just like case my stuff up and not worry about it too much. All right, what in Sam heck was I going to do next? Trying to put my whole dome piece in the shot. I think I had a little bit more warp lock in a couple spots, but probably not right now. I'm going to try something risky. Because I could write it off if it doesn't look good. If I write it off, I mean, I can leave it in, there's a couple spots on here that it might look all right. I'm going to grab Mortarion Grime. I'm going to put it on the boots. Because if the boots look a little funky, that's okay. I will probably put some basing material on the boots anyway. They're not central to the model, but if that works, then this will be, and I won't know till tomorrow, so I'm not going to do the whole thing. That will be a shade that I can do on all the different light armor pieces. So I'm going to keep the shoulders and knees. Might darken that chest up a little bit, but the knees and the shoulders are a little different. They're obviously darker than the foot is. If this works as a wash on the feet, then I know I can. Yeah, it's finally cat safe. Got it. If it works on the feet, I can do it everywhere. And then, oh, that's actually, I've never used it on over the Seraphim Sepia before. At least I don't think I have. If I did, it was late night and I forgot about it. That is nice. It's another light wash. Ooh. Mortarion Grime. How interesting. That didn't change it overall, but it did get into all the recesses. I might just go ham with that. I might not need till tomorrow to figure that out. That adds a lot of contrast and the tiniest bit of dirty green. They float all the time. I think he lets his feet down every once in a while, but he's very much like ethereal. I mean, even in his fight with Gilliman, he's very much floaty, ghosty, demony-ish. He doesn't march much. You know what? That wash is good. We're gonna bathe Mortarion in his own grime. That sounds weird, but yeah. I haven't taken a bath in a week. I don't know if that'll be enough. I think I'll probably dry brush some of the more elevated parts up a little bit, but I can imagine a, there's some pipes I never hit. Got to get those later. That's good. It doesn't really mess with the Seraphim Sepia too much. Just adds a greeniness to it, but I could probably dry brush some of the elevated parts with this Nurgling Green, which is what I hit the edge of those wings with. Give it a more, yeah, I think it does more. Give it a sickly sort of thing. Yeah, all right. I'm pleased with that. And I'm definitely pleased that Mortarion Grime, the namesake, is now officially part of the whole operation. You know what? This entire model may get Mortarion Grime. It is a good light wash. It's not going to like totally mess with. Oh, yeah. Should we go a little nuts? Doesn't mess with the light color scheme. I like that a lot. Look at that. I'm going right over the cloth. All that like, I might have to wait and figure it out. I guess not. It does work on the cloth too. Alright, I'm going to stick with the armor for the most part right now. Because I'm most pleased with that. But this like loincloth part, I'll hit that too. This is a, I've never really used this all that much. Because it doesn't do much to a green, which is where I thought it was going to make sense. Like looking at the pot, I figured with how grimy, murky, like it doesn't even look like swamp water. It looks like water that's like in a street puddle the car's been driving over. It didn't really help my actual green paints out all that much. Yeah, just get some on there. Wow, this is neat. I think I am gonna just paint this whole guy, wash this guy over in Mortarion Grime. How fitting. It's good. It gets into all those little pock marks really nicely, and because it's a little bit green, it contrasts the yellowiness a lot. Oh well, well. Does not bring the color up a ton. It is just what the doctor ordered. Wow. Okay. I am feeling good about this. Yeah, this is what it was made for. Or, I don't know, not legitimately, but as far as my usage goes. Because I love Seraphim Sepia. It's probably my favorite wash. And once again, like that one's really light. So it's very subtle. Yeah, I got to get in and get some of those metal details and bolts and things. But this is working. Now we are cooking with gas. Swamp gas. Yeah, it's bringing out a lot without being overbearing. Like the temptation to use Agrax Earthshade on everything, and I do not knock people who do because I love that stuff. I would drink it if it was safe. But it's pretty dark. If you're going grim dark, you want pretty dark. But Mortarion's already pretty grim. So don't. I'm going with a lot of light colors on them. Just pulling a little bit of this back up. In fact, I'm gonna get in there with this. Just dab it a little bit. Don't want it to be quite so pooled. There we go. That is nice. In that chest piece. Might not actually have to treat it the same as I did the other stuff. The shoulders and whatever. let the grind do its thing. But I do think, I mean, I was very scared that it would look kind of untoward on the cloth, but it doesn't. It doesn't. The arms look better, legs look better, and I still have that up there to judge it against. It looks better there. To be honest, for that different color, just Mortarion grime on there and a little bit of darkness near the bottom will probably be good. And it'll still, like, I think I can literally, I'm not gonna dip him, but I think I literally could dip him if I really wanted to have this be profound. I don't think there's a single color on here that won't work well with it. Yeah, it does. Pops a lot of little details in, which is what you want. Like, look at that. I'm just gonna go over this tree branch handle. Why not? Everything gets Mortarion grime. I'm absolutely not going to hit the wings with it, though. I don't know. Maybe it does get them. The wings scare me. I like the wings to feel like that powdery, thin moth wing sort of thing. And I'm afraid to mess with that because they've got it a lot right now. I don't know. Do I just dip the whole guy? Tough question. Solve that another time. Like, even on that branch, oh, man, those artifacts suck. I figure out what's going on. Just the detail on that branch, nice. That's a little heavy there, buddy. Let's just get some of that out of those divots of finger. Give it a couple taps here and there. Set you down. Keep going up here. Cover this whole bit, including the Gilliman flesh. Give it a little bit of a sickly pallor to it. Go all, oh yeah, that'll be good on these bones. Because they're straight up white underneath. Oh yeah. That's gonna work. That's gonna work just fine. Get all up in there. I have had this wash, I think, since I started. Maybe it was part of the second batch of paints that I got, but I think I've had it the whole. No, I definitely ordered this on Amazon, so it's part of the second batch. It was not in the first batch that I left the store with, but now that I'm using it, it's giving me all kinds of interesting thoughts about stuff that I've already worked on that I wasn't really big on washes in the beginning. The same way I didn't know how to use contrast paints. Washes I knew how to use, but I hadn't watched enough videos. Didn't really. I knew what they were for, but I hadn't had enough examples of seeing them used. And so, perfect case is like this guy has had some amount of wash to him, but I think it was Agrax. It was just kind of like, kind of haphazard. It was like, boop, boop, boop. Just a little splash on his face. So I have to bring some of that out. And no, this is not going to turn into me repainting all of my Poxwalkers the night before I need them. Who's that? That's Bob the Poxwalker. He is chaff. His base is super tiny. My tiny little combat patrol has 30 of them in it. 30. So a little object lesson. When I say Combat Patrol, it's a 500-point game, but there is actually like a legit, every faction I think has a Combat Patrol box that has its own rules that they come out with every edition. So this is one of the first boxes that I got. And Typhus, Biologist Putrefier, 7 Marines, and 30 Poxwalkers. So early on, and there's like I did one of my early videos was 3 test models of these guys because I wanted to figure out color scheme. So of the 30, there's 10 actual different models, and you get 3 of each. And these guys actually stand out well because they were my test models, where at least I think they stand out well. There should be a guy who's horribly green. Yep, that guy. And then there's one other dude in here. If I can find him, hopefully I didn't lose him. Yeah. There's the third guy. And so I painted the exact same model 3 ways, and then I went with this color scheme for the rest of them. So this red guy and this green guy sort of stand out a little bit in the crowd. But all the rest of them I was pretty consistent about. After doing that trio, I did the other 27 and just not in one sitting. But based off of this one guy, that I was like, okay, this feels the most right in terms of like the ooze and goop sticking out of him, the color of the skin, how I treated the tentacular stuff, how I treated the bone. So not unlike the Emperor, basing 20 Primarchs on his own genetics, and then rolling some dog stuff into one guy and some bird stuff into another because he's a mad dog. I made 3 Poxwalkers and then genetically passed the essence of one of them onto the other 27. And my shoulder hurts thinking about painting 27 Poxwalkers because they're so small and there's so many of them and there's so many steps. But I'm glad I did it. Alrighty. So I am going to take the plunge, and I am going to, and I think this will probably be the last thing I do for the night. Yeah, it's getting a little late. I am going to Mortarion grind the cloak. I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to just do it. And that way I can leave him kind of face down like this to dry. I can grab him from... actually, I might not be able to do that tonight. I'm going to take a step back. I can't really grab him effectively from anywhere because I put so much wash on the rest of him. And I'm just going to... the Poxwalkers, I think you can put them in squads of... So in the Combat Patrol, they're all in squads of 10. And if you're playing like a regular points game, you can go with 20 of them. And you can actually put Typhus in charge. You can add Typhus to a group of 20 of them, and they're basically like a blade of armor for him. It's like 20 extra life, essentially, because you can choose to apply the damage to him last. And when they kill stuff, they can res their own guys. And when Typhus kills stuff with his psychic power, he can bring back Poxwalkers with it. They are garbage. Like if they run up against chain gun, it's and you just like they're gone. But it's kind of neat, and they're a good screen and they're cheap. The Plague Marines you can do in 5, 7, or 10-man squads. You can actually do them in the in-between numbers, but it's not points beneficial. The sort of tiers of points are like 5, and then 6 costs you what 7 costs. 7's a special tier because they retro added that back in because 7's an important number. And the box comes with exactly 7. And then 8, 9, and 10 all have the same point cost, so you generally just do 5, 7, or 10. Anywho, I am pleased with the progress we've made. The scythe is looking pretty cool. I could probably glue that on next time. Our grime solution of Mortarion grime, fitting enough, will work for the whole thing. I just don't have enough places I can plant my hands, and it's getting late. The wings I'm very pleased with. They may not get grimed. We'll see. I'm probably going to varnish this whole model when I'm done, so it will get a little bit darker. I'll probably leave these guys alone, but I'm pleased with the wings. They look sickly and gross. It's like sort of like feverish looking flesh into rotting greeny. But yeah, next time we'll do a bunch of washing, do a bunch more detail, and I'll prime the sprues of the other couple sprues that I have. There's a bunch of extra parts that still go on this, bunch of details, but I couldn't paint those tonight because I didn't prime them during the day. But that's where we'll leave this part of the mission. I think this was episode. I do like them rotten. I do absolutely like them rotten. But still more to come. This is episode 5 of this guy, and they've all been from like an hour to 2 hours long. I think I'm a little bit more than halfway done now, which is cool. And of course, I will post something. I'll try to remember to take a lot of pictures of the game that I play. Obviously, I gotta ask the person I'm playing with if it's okay for me. They'll be like, but at some point, I'll basically try to do a battle report of it up. And I think if I just take enough pictures of the board state, I should be able to reconstruct the blur of my first monumental battle. So anyway, we are making a ton of progress now. It's been a flurry of activity the last 3 weeks. A lot of painting, ton of painting. I mean, pretty much this whole tray minus the meat wagon, big boy. Poop, poop, poop. Maybe I'll just play with him tomorrow. Just send him out by himself. All the way up to Mortarion. And by the end of the month, it's Orktober. I gotta paint this guy. And I'm gonna do some pink on him. So I'm gonna order some pink paint. Anyway, it's been real. Thanks a bunch for hanging out again. I'll see if I get my psychedelic camera sorted out. I have so many things plugged into my computer right now. It's really not fair to it. But I'll figure that out. Anyway, thanks a bunch. Have a good night. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.